Artificial intelligence is reshaping our world at a pace that is just incredibly fast. It promises these amazing advancements, right? But with all that power comes a really complex web of ethical questions. So today, we're going to navigate that minefield together.
And this is the big question we really have to grapple with. We all know AI is powerful, but how do we make sure it's also safe and fair? How do we stop it from actually harming the very people it's supposed to help? Well, let's start with the one thing that powers all AI.
Yep, you guessed it. It all starts with data. AI is absolutely nothing without the information we feed it, and that creates our first huge challenge, what I like to call the data dilemma.
So, at its most basic level, this is how AI learns. It literally devours these enormous troves of our data, our clicks, our conversations, our locations, all to find patterns and make these incredibly accurate predictions about the world and, well, about us.
And let's be honest, these risks are pretty much woven into our daily lives now. Think about it. Your phone tracking your location when you didn't even realize it was. That app on your phone that swears it's listening to your conversations. And these giant companies holding a virtual vault of your most sensitive information. We're talking health, finances, you name it. Each one is a potential problem waiting to happen.
And this just perfectly illustrates the point, doesn't it? We have all had that slightly creepy moment where an ad pops up for something you were just thinking about. That's not magic. It's the result of massive, predictive data collection doing its thing.
So here's the crucial takeaway. The AI is only as good, or frankly as bad, as the information it learns from. It's basically a mirror, just reflecting the data we show it.
And this brings us right to the other side of the data dilemma. If the data we're feeding the AI is already filled with our own historical prejudices, what do you think is going to happen? The AI doesn't just learn to be biased, it learns to amplify that bias on a massive, massive scale.
And the consequences of this are really serious. We're talking about things like automated hiring systems that just screen out perfectly qualified candidates from certain demographics, or facial recognition software that's less accurate for people of color, leading to wrongful identifications.
This is a perfect real-world example. Imagine an algorithm is trained on a company's past hiring decisions. It might learn that most of the successful hires came from a specific background, and then it'll start unfairly penalizing new applicants who don't fit that old mold. It just perpetuates a cycle of discrimination automatically.
Okay, so data is one huge piece of the puzzle, but AI's impact, man, it ripples out so much further, affecting our jobs, our whole society, and even our personal security.
So on one hand, the promise is huge, right? AI can take over all those repetitive, tedious tasks, which would free up humans for more creative work. But the risk is just as big, widespread job loss in sectors that employ millions and millions of people.
We see this every single day. The self-checkout line is such a clear, tangible example of automation replacing a human job. Now, just multiply that across thousands of industries, and you can really start to see the scale of the economic shift that we are facing.
But job loss is just one piece of this. The very same AI that can automate a task can also be weaponized. When these incredibly powerful systems fall into the wrong hands or are just hacked, the potential for harm is absolutely enormous.
And this is not science fiction anymore. AI is already making phishing scams almost impossible to spot. Deepfake videos are out there spreading misinformation, even destabilizing politics. And now, the debate around autonomous weapons, so-called killer robots, that has become one of the most urgent ethical conversations of our time.
This stuff is terrifyingly real. Scammers can use AI to clone the voice of a loved one from just a short audio clip. Then they call a family member, pretending to be in trouble, to trick them into sending money. It's a deeply personal and shockingly effective way to misuse this tech.
Okay, so this brings us to a final and maybe a little more technical problem, but it's one with huge real-world implications. And that's the fact that a lot of the time, we don't actually know how an AI makes its decisions.
So imagine a box. You put data in one side and a decision comes out the other. But the wiring inside, it's so unbelievably complex with millions or even billions of connections that even its own creators can't fully explain how it got from A to B. That's the reality for many of today's most advanced AI systems.
And this is the critical question, isn't it? If we can't understand the how can we possibly trust the decision? Or how can we fix it when it goes wrong? How can we be sure it wasn't based on some biased or even illegal factor? We can't.
Right. Here's the consequence in action. Let's say an AI system denies your loan application. You ask why, and the answer you get back is, the algorithm said so. Without any transparency, there's no way to appeal, no way to correct a mistake, and really no way to hold the system accountable.
So, after covering all of these challenges, privacy, bias, security, transparency, I know, it can feel a bit daunting. But here's the good news. People are actively working on solutions. So let's talk about the path forward.
Look, there is no single silver bullet here. The solution is going to require everyone to play a part. It needs governments to create clear rules of the road. It needs developers to commit to training AI on fair and diverse data. It needs companies to demand transparency and to shift the focus from replacing humans to working with them. And all of that while building way stronger defenses against misuse.
And at the end of the day, this is the core mission. All of these steps, they point to one simple, powerful idea. Let's harness the incredible potential of AI to benefit all of society, while proactively making sure it doesn't create new kinds of discrimination, risk, or inequality.
So, I'll leave you with this final thought. AI is a mirror. It doesn't have its own values. It only reflects what we show it. And right now, we are the ones holding that mirror. The ultimate question isn't what AI is going to do, it's what kind of future we want it to reflect back at us.